All right, welcome into another edition of Catching Up with Tommy Mac podcast here on 1010XL's podcast platform, 1010XL.com, of course. Also the 1010XL app. Don't forget to download that great app. We're also live on Facebook on 1010's page, my own page as well, and we will be all over other podcast platforms and social media platforms. My producer, Grammage, does a great job cutting it up, putting out reels, and getting the whole show on YouTube, Spotify, etc., etc. Brought to you by our good friends at Team Tommy Mac. The team keeps growing. It's stronger than ever. Man, I love representing each and every business that's on Team Tommy Mac, and just always appreciate their support and all of yours out there as well. Okay, so it's Tuesday. It's a Suck It Up Tuesday. We go to work today. I do anyway. I know a lot of you do as well. Let's, before we get into it, because yesterday I was hot. I watched the game again and, took notes and, just we're going to get into it. But let's say good morning to Grammage. Grammage, how are you, pal? How's it going, bud?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Freddie. You too as well, my man. How's it going? You're looking good. Looking dapper in your little gator vest and 1010XL hoodie.
Thank you, sir. I love when the weather gets a little more chilly, and I can.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong, and I love living here, and I know you do too.
Yep.
I love our sunshine. I love our warm weather,
of course.
But the one downside is some of your nice warmer fits. Kind of collect some dust in the closet.
They
sometimes.
do.
You don't get to pull them out.
To pull them out very
so
often.
I'm a big vest guy.
Yeah,
I love the hoodie vest.
Listen, we're in a
look.
vest, market. I mean, it's the vests come out when it gets cold. You watch. You look around we walk around town. There'll be vests everywhere, man. They'll be attacking you from all angles and whatnot.
I feel like the 40s, 50, upper 40s, lower 50s weather range is the perfect vest weather.
Okay,
that's
nice
because that's not cold enough for two jackets.
Right.
But you
just
could probably
get your chest nice and warm.
Yeah, it's just like a little bit of an extra thing.
I hear you. I apologize for my voice out there. Yesterday it got a little. I don't know what was going on. Took a ton of vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, and all that good stuff. What's up, B? You doing all right? You good, man? Yeah, we did start, man. You doing all right? Come on in. You can come in if you want. Say hello. We share the podcast room, of course, here at 1010XL. Hey, brother. How you doing, man? Good to see you. I feel like we're brothers. Yeah. Oh, wow. Are you going to be around? It's a little hoarse. Are you going to be around? Or? All right. I am a liver. Yeah. All right, man. Good to see you, brother. Yeah, awesome. Beautiful. Yeah, hey, everybody's welcome, man. Everybody's welcome, and a lot of things going on right here at 1010XL. Of course, the radio studio is right here. They're just getting done. It was funny. I was listening to Prosser talk about Ja Morant punching the teenager at his house during a pickup basketball game after the kid threw the ball in his face. And Prosser's like, you just can't punch the kid. I'm like, well, what about whipping the ball back in his smug-ass face? I mean, you don't get to whip a ball in a man's face. 17, who taught that kid manners? Sounds like he needed some. I don't know if I'd have whacked him. He would have gotten a mouthful of rubber. That ball would have came at his face so fast he wouldn't know it hit him. Anyway, we'll back off on that and continue on here. But
sometimes you need a taste of your own medicine,
You do.
Sometimes
I understand you can't punch him, right? But what if you do throw the ball back at him? Is that assault? And is his assault? Like, say Ja Morant doesn't punch the kid. I guess he punched the kid. What if he just took the ball like, you little whapa, wham? You know what I mean? How would we? And he's 17. He's not like 10.
Right, exactly.
I mean, come on. Somebody's 17. It might be 19 for all we know. But anyway, nonetheless, Jags, I'll tell you this. I can't say they got smacked in the mouth against the Browns. I thought I thought they matched the physicality, We're going to go through the stats and everything today. Not happy. I watched the game yesterday again. Took notes. It's amazing to me, especially at this time of the season. And by the way, this is both sides of the ball. This isn't just defense and special teams, that you don't know what you're doing. at this point of the season. I don't care what year you are. I don't care if you've been out of football. We're in week 14. You should know the playbook. And I mean every bit of the playbook. And look, should the coaches make sure of that? Yes, they should. And I agree with that. But the players are the ones that have to do it. You got to know that thing inside and out. You can't be lost. You can't know what route to not know what route to run on every single play. The quarterback and you have to be on the same page. And it ain't just the receivers that are off. The QB was off too. There was a problem with protection with the offensive line. Some guy slid left, Schiff goes right, free guy in. They're not communicating. They're not playing together. That doesn't make any sense. There's no excuse for it. You fans can do whatever you want. I love you. You can fan all you want. You can make all the excuses you want for your team. And look, this team is still a playoff contender. There's no doubt about that. But they better get their together very, very quick because they are making mistakes that are going to, they'll be one and done. They'll be one and done. Look, not a huge deal, but a huge deal. Adam Gotsis, what are you doing on punt? It's 4th and 5. Or 6. What are you doing? Why are you jumping? Why are you trying to, okay, I want to jump and make a play. Okay, well, let's be smarter about that. That's like the lowest one I'm going to get after. You know what I mean? Like the least meaningful. But it was meaningful. It was a big part of the game.
That was bad.
You can't do that. If you do that in the playoffs, it's over. Okay, so just getting to the playoffs is great. Don't get me wrong. It's great. And after the dust settles, we would look back on the 2023 season. If the Jags were one and done in the playoffs, we'd be like, you know what? Still a great year. Not how we wanted to finish, not what we thought we'd be at the end of the year like we did in the beginning, but still a good year. Now look, there's still a lot of football left to be played. They've got 4 games to get ready. And it does matter because you don't just walk into the playoffs. You got to run into the playoffs. You're either a top seed who's been kicking ass all year long and deserve the week off, or you're a wild card that's been on a run, winning games, tough games, finding ways to win on the road, at home. It doesn't matter. You become what? A dangerous team in the playoffs, right? You look at the Jags last year. Although Chargers went up on them 27-0. Prior to that, nobody really wanted to play them. They were playing some outstanding football. They were hot as all get out going into the playoffs. So to me, this is very important 4-game stretch. The last 2 games were very important. And you want to look at it from a macro. Let's look at it from a macro. You were 8-3 going into Cincinnati. Cincinnati loses their stud quarterback, yet still a wild card contender. Fair? Fair. Cleveland Browns, they lose their starting quarterback and others as well. Injuries happen. And they are what? They're a wild card contender. And we got beat by both of them. So what does that make us? Don't give me this, blah, blah, they're this or that. No, we are what our record is. We're 8-5. We're still in first place in the division. It's a shame we didn't find a way to win last week or the week before because guess what? With Miami and KC losing, we would be right there going against Baltimore this Sunday for first place in the AFC. That's why that matters. And those 2 games matter. You're going to kick yourself because you didn't win the games. And look, this wasn't Cleveland better than us. Some players are, of course. This was us not executing, not knowing, being lost. It's just unacceptable behavior, if you will, by my team. I don't understand how these guys don't know what to do. We're going to go through it. And by the way, Trevor's not immune to the critique. He did have pressure, but he was off on a lot of throws. His deep throw outside, I wish he would stop throwing it inside. He throws it inside way too many times. Sometimes it's perfect. Sometimes it is. It's on the outside shoulder where it has to be. If it's on the inside, you give your guy the guy the chance to make a play on the ball. If it's outside, when you're one-on-one down the field, you want to take those shots. You want to audible to a bomb on 3rd down when you got one-on-one with Parker Washington in the slot as well, and you want to be that, hey, this is where we make our money. Fine. Make the right throw then. Make the throw right because you're not. And that was an audible, and it was bad audible. And it's not a bad audible because they were in man, but man, you locked into Ridley. You didn't even pay attention to Parker, who was one-on-one with no help. There were no safeties in the middle of the field at all, and all you needed was, I think, a yard for the first down. So anyway, nobody's immune to this thing. The good thing is we're 8-5, and we're still in control of our destiny. But we got to clean some stuff up. And I don't mean clean. I mean like fix. Devin Lloyd, this kid athletically is phenomenal. He is, and he's got a ton of talent. But I don't think he knows about man. I don't think so. And yeah, okay, part of that is coaching, but part of it is him. How he's not just, is he? I don't know. Let me ask. Is everybody, Calvin Ridley included, guy doesn't know what he's doing half the time or some of the time. How much do they know their playbook? How much are they studying that playbook? How much are they ingrained throughout the week of knowing exactly what I have to do every single play? Every single play. I was going through some things on Twitter, writing it down. Somebody wrote, well, is it too much to ask for them to know every single? I'm like, it's your job. We're professional athletes. We're not high school. We're not even college. Although in college you have to know exactly what you're doing. To me, it's unacceptable. And I've been, you've heard me, Grammage. I've been complaining about Ridley not knowing what the hell he's doing for weeks. This is nothing new. I know it sounds like it's new, but it's not. There's plays he's like standing there. Guys are like yelling at him like as they're going by. Like he's like, what? Like. Not knowing the play. Trevor on the first drive where he goes off and runs but gets taken down, I think got like 6-7 yards. He immediately looks over to Ridley and was like, what are you doing? Like, it's unbelievable that is going on. The miscommunication, we'll go through the picks, right? The miscommunication. The one to Zay, the first pick. You want to blame the receiver? I don't know who to blame. He throws it outside, Zay goes up. I don't know. And I'm sure neither one are going to throw each other under the bus, nor should they, but that's a miscommunication. It happens. It just happened to, what's his name, with Gabe Davis. Remember we were talking about that?
Yeah.
That option route. He thought he was going in. He went out. He threw it in. The guy went out. Well, this was the opposite, but miscommunication. And I thought that one, Grammage, we're down 14-0. That was a panic play to me. That was like, we're down 14-0. We got to, run your offense. Run the offense. And and I'm going to get into some good things, but here's another thing I didn't understand. And I mentioned it before, that running play where they block out the receiver and they seal the end, right? And they bring that pulling guard, and up comes ETN. It's off tackle. It's outside. It's not a sweep where he's got to outrun everybody. It's off tackle, up the field, but he's got a chance to make a move. He was getting yards, even in the Wildcat first quarter. He was getting yards. Now, they started shutting that down. You can't go to it every single time. It seemed like they kept trying to go to that play.
Well, sorry to cut you off.
That was aggravating.
Well, the other thing that was kind of bothering me when it came to I guess part of this might be that their bread and butter run game just wasn't working, and it hasn't worked all year for the most part. But with the Wildcat and the exact type of thing you're talking about, the off-tackle runs.
Yeah. They've had a lot of success this year with that play.
They have, and you're absolutely right that Cleveland adjusted.
They did.
As a good NFL team should.
Yep.
But in the past, particularly last year, whenever we would have plays like that we would dial up and would work and the other team would adjust, Doug, being the masterful offensive coach he is, he always had a counter to the counter.
Right.
He always had
like a misdirection off that play, like keep them honest.
Right. He was always able to, okay, we had this wrinkle, it worked, they've adjusted. Now I've got a wrinkle to the wrinkle. Now I've got I've called this to be able to set this up or whatever it is.
Yeah, right.
And there haven't been as many of those this year. I don't know if that's because the actual just straight up runs up the A gap or is getting stuffed every time. Right. So that your normal plays aren't working, so they're having to empty the clip with creativity faster.
Yep.
I don't know what it is, but for some reason it seems like that kind of second level of play calling isn't there like it was last year.
Yeah, just to counter the counter, right? And it was last. Look at the playoff win against the Chargers. We had to counter the counter.
Yes.
What was their counter? They sat on the routes. What was our counter? Well, let's not do that anymore. Let's open it up a little bit, right? Let's make some double moves. Let's throw some over the heads. But man, just disappointing. The last 2 weeks, disappointing that across. Now this last week it was the defense, right? The offense scored 31 points. 27 should be enough too, but it wasn't. This week it was a full team kind of effort. Njoku's a very athletic tight end, no doubt. And when he came out of Miami, he was very impressive. But man, we made him look like Kelsey. I mean, or Antonio Gates even. I mean, he was unbelievable. And all it was not knowing who our man was in coverage. The second one, you can see that the side to where Njoku came from, we're in man. The other side is zone. Go watch it. Njoku, there's a back to the tight end. There's Aluakin and Lloyd. They each have the tight end or the back, right? Sometimes you play in and out, which I thought that Aluakin was trying to do, but there was no communication there. In and out means if the tight end comes in and I'm the inside backer, although I have the back to begin with, I'm going to switch with you.
You swap responsibilities.
We swap responsibility. It's done all the time. It's not rocket science. But you watch, and the reason I know they're in man, because Aluakin goes and hugs up. We call it a hug up on a back. When you have the back and he doesn't go out in a route, but he tries to block or you think he's going to block, you hug up on him. A, because if he does eventually go out, you're right there on him. B, he tries to block you go over him and get the quarterback. And he hugs up, and Njoku runs right past Devin. So, and by the way, they both, all game long, especially the first series, they both were biting on the run fake like crazy. Both of them were. And it first drive, especially, go look at that. That was not they just went right down the field. But look, credit Flacco. You guys want to give him grief. He's 38. He's not any good. He was good enough. He made plenty of throws that hurt us. Made a throw or two that helped us. No doubt about it. Darius Williams was a great pick, which was one of my good points. That in the Wingard fumble, a nice hustle play by Wingard to get that ball loose that led to points.
And Antonio Johnson.
Antonio Johnson's great. I mean, he's great. I love that guy. We were talking about him at camp. Remember, he was, man, he's and great blitz call, and great timing of the blitz. A couple of the blitzes I saw with Cisco, and by the way, Jenkins is on my good list. That guy's such a tough player, man. You could tell he was hurting, but he kept making plays, kept getting in there. I tell you, we need more fire like that. We get it from Josh Allen, who I think had another good game. Overall. But it's amazing to me that we haven't figured out, man, like Devin should know, like it's not that hard. You count. Look, on the one touchdown where Darius slipped and the guy was free, they just miscalculated. That's all they did. And it was man, you could tell it was man because he went in with them. And then, it starts out with, Johnson actually had the right guy. He had Njoku. Njoku started off, I think, number 2. Outside guy comes in. He becomes number 1. Williams comes in. He takes him, but then slips because he thought he was going to go to the – it's just communicating. And going through that in practice. It's not like, if you never do it, it might be a little, with 3 on 3, it might be a little different to do the in and out. 2 on 2, it's a little simpler, right? I got one guy. I don't have to count an extra guy, but it's still the job. And you can't, what are other teams going to do? They're going to run the same thing from the other side or in a different formation or whatever. So we got to get rid of this mental errors, missed assignments, jumping the gun, not doing the right things. Not running the route. The pick that Ridley, it's a skinny post. He doesn't even turn. It's a skinny post. So a slant is 5 and 45 hard, right? Or even more so. And a skinny post is up and just a slight bend like post, but not a full post. It's a skinny post. Makes sense? Post would be like that. Skinny would be tighter. And he doesn't even look. Like, how do you not know? And here's another thing. Why do you keep going to him if he doesn't know? I will say this. Ridley does run the slant very well, and that out route, nobody can cover him. That 10, 12, 15-yard out. So let's see more of that. Again, the deep throws, they've got to be better. They got to be better, Trevor, consistently. The throw to Parker, beautiful, and a great catch, too. But outside, it's from, like, he's going out. Where do you put it? Outside. And I think he turned and went that way, but still, get it outside to where they don't have a chance. He's got to be better on that, those kind of throws.
Did you see Ridley on that play, by the way?
Yeah, what was he? He was
like sitting there arguing with the ref in the middle of the play.
About what, though? Do we know?
I don't know. In the middle of the play.
There was another play. Trevor missed Parker wide open. He threw it to Zay, who was like double or triple covered, and Parker was on the left side. Just nobody was anywhere near me. Just didn't see him in time. It can be hard. I mean, I'm not saying you're going to see everybody, but he did miss that one.
This could be. Tell me if you think this is a little bit of a reach, but tell me if you don't think it's a reach either.
Yeah,
I have felt like a significant chunk of the season with Trevor and Ridley.
Yeah.
I have felt like it's been a little bit like when Dak Prescott, his early years in Dallas.
With Dez?
When Dez Bryant was there.
Yep.
And there was this, you could feel from Dak,
yep,
watching their games, you could feel a little bit of an outside pressure to force the ball to Dez Bryant.
Yep.
And what was Dez Bryant? Dez Bryant, Ridley's a much better route runner than Dez Bryant. But Dez was known for, he can only do a couple things, but, great in the air. He's obviously a great player.
Great player.
But you felt like that hindered Dak's ability to see the whole field.
Yep.
Deliver some probably higher percentage throws throughout the game, probably pick up more first downs and keep the chains moving to other receivers that are more open.
Yep.
Because you felt like from their fan base, from ownership, possibly from coaches, I don't know, there was a little bit of extra pressure to force the ball to that one guy.
Yeah.
And it's felt a little bit like that from time to time this year. It's felt like they've said, we're getting the ball to Ridley no matter what. Well, and they've sacrificed higher percentage throws for that.
It may not be just they saying that. Trevor and Calvin may be saying that.
Right,
like, hey,
exactly.
We've got something. Because look, a couple catches, a couple better placed throws, we're talking a little bit different.
Of course.
Right?
Of course.
But regardless of that, Calvin really not knowing the plays is absolutely inexcusable.
Completely.
And that's a liability. Look, I'll take you back, and I'm not trying to compare, but Andre Rison was here in 1996, and if Jay Smooth, who normally listens to his program, he remembers because he replaced Andre. They got rid of Andre because Andre was doing the same kind of stuff. He was not running the routes that he was expected to run on certain plays. Not all the time, but it got to be enough to where it was very frustrating. You can't go rogue. If you don't know, you don't know. But then I don't know. That's a liability out there. I'm not trying. I don't know if you sit them, but gosh, how do you not know the plays? How do you not know exactly where you're going? How do you not everything? I mean, that doesn't take talent to know every bit of your position. It just takes time. And if you need help trying to memorize or trying to figure, that's when you go to your coach or you go to your older player, you go to somebody that can help you figure out. And maybe it's just talking during the game. Maybe there's not enough communication during the game. Hey, maybe there's not enough, hey, Aluakin saying to Devin, hey, Dev, hey, we in and out these two, right? If he comes to you, you got him. Right? Inside guy, I'll take the outside guy, or vice versa, or whatever. Hey, we're in man, right? We're on man on this side. They're on zone on that side, but you got to take them all the way through. Whatever. If it's quick reminders, then that's what you have to do if you're going to keep them out there. Because right now, Devin Lloyd, he's a liability when he messes up. He makes a lot of plays, though. I'm sorry, I just spit at everybody. He makes a lot of plays, though. So I don't want to take him out of the lineup, but I got to make sure he knows exactly what he's doing, and that's got to come from everybody, but especially 33 himself. He's the one that's got to study.
How come this is a second year in a row now of Devin Lloyd starting the season super strong, and then by the end of the year his head's spinning? Why is that?
That's a great question, because during camp and during most of the year this year, remember with the cast, he almost had like 4 picks. It's not like he's been totally out of position, but you got me thinking right now, because last year, if you remember, we talked about man on one side, zone on the other. That second touchdown with Njoku, I'm 100% confident they were on zone on the side that he ended up on and man on the side he started on. And Lloyd had him as man. So does he think, well, if he's going across, he's going to the zone, I don't have to take? I don't know. I'm guessing here. But maybe that's the confusion. He's obviously, even the first one, they both bite. It's just, if you're covering air, like nobody, and someone's roaming free, you totally miss the boat. The first one, it's right there. They both bite on the run fake. But then you have a chance to recover, and Lloyd just kind of backpedals a little bit, and Njoku's just free as a bird running down the field. Touchdown. I mean, those are the types of mistakes that'll get you one and done in the playoffs. And look, I may be hard on him. I'm sorry, but I want this team to do something in the playoffs. Just getting there is great, but it's not great enough. Again, and I truly believe this. They have the talent to be a contender, a real contender, but they've got to play mistake-free football. They got to play mistake-free football. There's probably nobody in the league that can just show up and win consistently. Meaning just, put in half the effort during the week, maybe not study the whole thing, just use my instincts. A, no coach in their right mind would allow that, but B, you couldn't do it. You'd get fooled. You would. They'd fool you somehow. You get faked out, you'd cost your team a touchdown, you cost your team a big play. Nobody's that, as a team, gifted to do that. And quite frankly, I don't think there'll ever be a team that could just show up and dismantle any team on both sides of the ball. So this team, I hope these are lessons, because you should be kicking yourself. At the very minimum, you should be 9-4 with the 10-3 Baltimore Ravens coming to town on Sunday Night Football for you to take over first place in the AFC. But we're not. We're not. Now we got to just continue to claw, continue to fight. Hey, listen, you saw Tennessee last night. You think they're going to not show up the last game of the year? Whether we need the win or not, they're going to show up and want to beat us. There's no doubt. I'll give you Carolina. We should beat them. And maybe you could just show up a little bit against Carolina this year anyway. I'm being facetious. Tampa's up and down. Tampa's, I'm not like scared of them or nothing, but you don't show up for that game, they'll beat you. Of course, Baltimore's coming to town. I haven't gotten into that. We'll get into that later in the week. But they're a very good team, very physical team, fast team. Now, granted, I think the Rams have a pretty good team. They've been showing that lately. Like they can score a lot of points. What a way to end it, the walk-off punt return in OT. That was pretty awesome if you're a Raven fan. But an NFL fan, that was a great one. Speak of end of games, how about this Kadarius Toney and the Chiefs? But first of all, what a play by Kelsey. Oh, my gosh. I mean, that's like, that would add to his urban legend. You know what I mean? Like, that's a ridiculous heads-up. Perfect spiral, by the way. And, by the way, Toney, kind of took the play off for a second before he noticed, oh, here's the ball coming, and he was wide open. But he lines up, and everybody's been listening to the commentary, right? I saw yesterday where Orlovsky's like, He lined up that way like 3 or 4 times during the game. And then Ryan Clark's like, well, then why did they call it on that play? Why did they call it before? Like, what? I don't know. It's funny. Andy Reid's like, normally I get a little warning. The receiver's supposed to check. He said he checked, but I don't think he checked, really. I think he looked at him. That was it. I don't know this. Look, I've never lined up as a wide receiver, okay, out wide. But if I'm lined up, okay, let's just pretend this is the line of scrimmage. And I'm, kind of on it, close to it. And I look down the line all the way to the end, to the receiver on the other side, and I'm ahead of all of them. Don't you think you just kind of take a step back? You know what I'm saying? Like, are you that, like, tunnel vision? You're not paying attention to that? You know what I mean? Like, that, you know what that is? That's that attention to detail that everyone hates hearing about. But when those things happen, like the things that happened in the Cleveland game, attention to detail, knowing what you know what I mean? Oh, that's too hard. That's too tough on them. No, attention. No, guess what? Those little things creep up, and then they cost you games. It matters. It does matter. It's just wild how, and then people are like, well, who is it? Is it really Tony's fault? Is it the coach's fault? Is it the ref's fault? I swear, the society we live in, like, it's the players. I mean, come on, you've been in the league. Sides, like, bro. Come on, line up. Like, what are you talking about? Just unbelievable. But anyway, those things happen. What happened to the Eagles, Grammage? Oh man, there's a crack in that armor, big time. Man, that defensive front is not playing. Those guys should not be getting moved around. Fletcher Cox, Jordan Davis, seriously? Carter?
I don't know,
man. They're getting run on. They're getting run on quite a bit.
I didn't think the Eagles were capable of getting dismantled like that in a game.
2 weeks in a row.
I know.
I mean, Dallas is playing some outstanding ball, man. I may have to rethink how I rank them, but that NFC is going to be fun. That ending's going to be real fun.
You know what my biggest takeaway was from this week in the NFL, top to bottom?
Yeah.
Unless they suffer another injury to a key guy, the Niners are head and shoulders better than everybody, in my opinion. They're anytime
they're number one for sure. I think Dallas can give them a run for their money though on the right day.
But they beat Dallas 42-10.
I know.
That's what I'm saying. Like, every single team, because the Niners are a top team, right?
Yep.
Any other contender, when they play the Niners, it's a marquee matchup.
Right.
It's a game of the week type game for the NFL.
Yep.
The Niners kick their ass every time.
No, they have.
Every
this
time.
Year they have.
They played the Cowboys. Marquee game. I think it was Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, it was.
42-10.
Yeah.
They play us.
Yep.
Beat us by 1,000 points. They play the Eagles.
We were the faux pas marquee at that time, I think.
Oh, I don't disagree, but I'm just saying, if there's a team that's going to expose you, it is the 49ers.
They are ultra talented on both sides of the ball. There's no doubt. By the way, did you see what Trent Williams said about Brock Purdy? He said, if you think Brock Purdy is a system quarterback, you don't know beep about football.
Wow.
Good for him.
Well,
Good for sticking up for his QB. I don't know why everyone's got to take that shot. The kid's a good player. The system QB. Nobody's saying he's the next, super duper 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 star, but he's playing some outstanding football. I'd like to, if I had a team, I'd like him as my QB. He fits the system great. And what did we say? How many times have we said it? That's what it's all about. Knowing your QB can run the offense efficiently without turning the ball over and performing at a high level, and the kid's doing it.
They needed the Niners, before Purdy came in, they needed a QB that was always accurate and was never had this big desire to play hero ball. Right. That's what that team needed.
Yeah.
And because that's exactly what you said. That's what their system calls for. And something I wanted to bring up to you that I think I'm sure you agree with, but part of what makes me think that the Niners are so dominant right now, and the Eagles would normally fit this bill, even though I know they've been struggling. It feels like around the league, and it's not just me saying this, there's been a discourse about this. it feels like around the league there is a shortage of good offensive linemen and good offensive lines. And you think about there's a very high number of injured QBs this year, and points in general for the most part of the season have been down. Scoring has been down in a league that's set up for high-scoring games. Why is that? I have felt like just watching games generally, watching our Jags, watching everybody else, offensive lines are struggling big time. And then you have the Niners that just are this just stonewall up front.
Last year, we didn't struggle on the O-line. Last year, we were one of the better O-lines in the league.
Agreed.
Now, granted, the injuries have hurt us. By the way, I think Ezra Cleveland can play left tackle. I do. I think he's a pretty decent left tackle. I don't know if we'd play him here with everybody back, but I would. I feel comfortable with him. You know, Blake, he tried to help. I don't know why you'd leave him on an island in a really critical part of the game, you know, all by himself with number 95. He's phenomenal.
Myles
Garrett, thank you. Just phenomenal. But, you know, look, we've had injuries, so I know that's kind of the rhetoric out there. I've seen that a little bit, like people questioning, you know, maybe depth, because you get injuries. Can guys step up? But you look at San Fran, they got a very good offensive line. Dallas has got a pretty darn good offensive line. Philly does have a good offensive line, but they're not clicking for whatever reason. They're just not getting it done. I think, you know, I want Walker back. We need at least Walker back. I'd like to get Cam back. You know, again, the offensive line, what'd they give up, 4 sacks? You know, Trev didn't really take off and run either until the end. You know, he just didn't feel comfortable doing that. His audibles, you got to question some of those audibles, man. I don't know if I like them. You know, I don't know if I like them.
I want to give you credit because you've been on this for multiple weeks now. Because they called this in a game. I'm trying to recall which game it was.
Yep.
That they won. Maybe Pittsburgh. It feels like it was
earlier in the year when he tried to go rogue down by the goal line and run the ball instead of
no.
Not that one.
Later on.
Okay.
There was a play where it was either 3rd or 4th and 1.
Yeah.
And Trevor called an audible.
Right.
You could tell he knew a blitz was coming. Called an audible, and he threw a deep ball to Zay Jones. That Zay almost, I think it was the Steelers game.
Oh, we're out of bounds.
Yes.
Yeah,
Zay almost made a
great
spectacular catch.
And
I remember,
out of bounds.
Because they won, and because it was a pretty good throw where Zay did almost make a great catch, no one was really that upset about it, except I vividly remember you on this podcast saying, what are they doing taking this deep shot when they need 1 yard?
Right.
Give me a higher percentage completion for 2 to 3 yards and keep the chains moving. I vividly remember you being outspoken about that. Like, I don't like that play. Multiple times yesterday or on Sunday, that's becoming a little bit worrisome that every time there's a clear, like, all-out send-the-house blitz coming, seemingly Trevor's only answer is just chuck it deep. When if they're sending that many guys, a Parker Washington or an Evan Ingram or a back, someone's going to be wide open for like 5 yards.
Right.
And that's a little bit concerning because that's going to bite them against good teams, especially come playoff time.
Well, and look, the throw that we're talking about, Zay made a great catch. It wasn't a great throw.
Yeah, you're right. I mean,
it was inside again. It can't be shorted inside. It can't be long and inside. It can't be inside. It's got to be outside. So they have to go through your receiver to make a play on the ball. That's the perfect throw. In that when someone's on you. Now, when you're out in front, it's a little different. You just throw it out in front, right? You could put it on the inside. But when someone's on you, it's got to be on that outside, like the Parker throw. But let's go back to the one where he throws the pick on the 3rd and 1 where he audibles. Now, it is an all-out blitz, no doubt. So he's got to get rid of the ball quick. You got Parker one-on-one. It's, to me, what's the high percentage throw? Zing, 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 or out, in or out. You can still flood Zay down one-on-one, just like we use Captain Kirk. That's what Parker's here for. And I guarantee you he would have had a chance to make a play. Now, granted, that DB could have made a great play and knocked it down or whatever. I get that, but that's a way more high of a percentage play, especially if you don't throw it right. And if you got to throw it early because the pressure, then that's still not the right throw. But it's happened a couple times where he does audible. So Doug's, I'm sure, that's got to drive you mad when that happens. You know, when you make an audible and it turns into a pick. They're growing pains. They are, but you got to diminish these kind of growing pains if you're gonna do something. Look, I think we still win the division, but that's not enough. And I'm not saying we have to be in the Super Bowl this year, but man, get back to the divisional playoff round and give yourself a chance to go to the championship. It's still attainable. Again, I want the hot team. So you go on a 4-game win streak into the playoffs, right? You got a home game. You won your division. Man, we're sitting pretty now, and we're feeling good. We're back to that good feeling again. We've missed it. Ever since that San Fran loss, sure, the Houston win was great, but hey, Houston game could have gone the other way. It could have. Very easily could have. Glad it didn't,
man,
obviously.
Where would we be sitting today if that game had gone the other way?
Right. Well, you can say that about a few games, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it hasn't been the same since that 5-game win streak. Hey, it's hard to win in the NFL. And if you think that these last 4 games are easy, you know they're not. If you think the last 3 are easy, they're not. I'm telling you right now, they're not going to be walk in the park guaranteed victories. They're not. They're going to have to fight for every single one, but that's okay. As long as they come away with victories, it doesn't matter. But this team, I'm telling you right now, if I'm on that team, the wake-up call already should have been there, but if I'm on that team and I know there are guys that don't know what the bump, beep, whatever you want to call it, doing out there, I'm calling them out. And my teammates would call them out individually, in team meeting, in position meeting, at the locker, out on the field, what have you. It's got to be addressed. You got to have accountability there. You got to take care of the little things. You have to. And one of the little things is knowing the assignment every single time. There should be no question of what you're running, ever. Calvin Ridley should know every route. Don't tell me, oh, he's been out of here. No. All it takes is time. So that's the question. What are you guys doing?
This guy's a multi-year veteran in the league, and
there's
the
no
back
excuse.
half of the season, you get no excuse.
None.
You get no excuse.
For none of them. And by the way, Trevor in his 3rd year, he's not that we're giving him excuse, but he's got to play better too, man. We all got to come together and play better.
I'm just like that. Again, you were on this before I think other people were. That seemingly every time there's an all-out blitz on a 3rd and short or a 4th and short, and he just wants to pull the trigger and throw it 40 yards down the field. I'm telling you, man, teams, you know this better than I do. You've been NFL.
They know it's coming now.
You've been in NFL defensive meeting rooms. You're telling me that every team we play from here on out is not going to have that conversation? Of course they are.
Right.
Hey, 3rd and short, if we show and send blitz,
right,
just sit a safety back over the top. He's going to throw it right to you.
Right. Here's an idea, okay? I'm okay with him audibling out of that 3rd and 1. And you see where Ingram, he's going in motion. He tells him to stop. Ingram goes right next to the tackle for what? Max protect.
Yep.
What does max protect mean? We're all blocking except 2 guys. I got 2 or 3, maybe 3 receivers tops. And you gotta get the ball out quick, and you got to be on point with the ball, right? So if he's gonna audible that, so what's Ridley's best routes right now? It's not the deep one down the field, right? Zay maybe, okay, you just got to place the ball better. But what's his best one? I mean, are you telling me here you got Parker, you got Ridley, 2 quick slants inside? You don't think one of them's gonna be able? All you need is a yard. It's all you need. And I get it, man, because what's the reward if you make the bomb? He's great. They're great. And I get it. You want that glory. Everybody does, but you got to be smart when you want that glory at critical times. You know what it was? It was last week, 3:15 to go, 3rd and 7. That's when they threw that. He audibled and went deep on the sideline, and it got turned over on downs. You're like, dude, you get the first down. You run the clock. You control the clock. You control the end of the game. You go for this high risk, high reward if you get it. Play, but if you don't get it, it's like you're at the blackjack table. Yeah, I won $100,000, but you lost 200. You know what I mean? So what? It doesn't mean anything. I don't know. I'm sure they're going to address it. But overall, it just disappointing. But hey, it's still positive. It's still, you still control your destiny. And you are, look, even with the injuries, a lot of people are injured. I don't give injuries any kind of excuse on this show or in life at all, but you are a contender. You have enough talent to contend in the AFC. I'm not saying you're good enough to win the Super Bowl. Quite frankly, I don't care. But I want to see a strong finish. Look, Baltimore's going to be a tough out. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt. Doesn't mean we can't. Doesn't mean that at all. I'll break them down later in the week on Friday and probably Thursday night with the Happy Hour show. Reggie Hayward's my guest, by the way, and we're giving away 2 tickets to the Ravens game. So come on out to the Graffiti Burger Bar in Jax Beach Thursday, 6 to 7:30 p.m. Going to be great. Me and Aaron Beasley and all that, but it's going to be a tough out. And then the next 3 you got to figure out as well. Those aren't going to be easy at all. Miami really let one go last night, man. They had a chance to really still be in the thick of it. KC, that was a blunder, whatever. They would have won in high fashion.
The biggest winner of the whole weekend was the Ravens.
True.
Them being able to pick it was close game, but them being able to pick up that win.
Yep.
That all of a sudden they got a multi-game lead for the 1 seed.
I know.
I mean, Jags lost.
Yep.
Dolphins lost. KC lost.
Yep.
I mean,
yep.
They made out like bandits.
Since he won again.
Yeah, that's
Cleveland
true.
won. Obviously. It's going to be a tight race. That's why you got to take care of your shizzle. You know what I'm saying? Your business. And you can. So get back together, man. Call each other out. Hold each other accountable. Make sure everybody knows exactly what's going on any given play. And that goes for, look, special teams. Next time you line up to Adam Gotsis or another teammate, say, hey, don't jump off sides. Watch the ball. Communicate. And make sure you know what the hell you're doing out there, or find somebody that can, because you can't be a liability out there if you're going to advance in the playoffs. And at the end of the day, that's all I really care about. Again, like I said at the beginning of the show, if it doesn't happen, we'll look back and be like, it's still a good year, but we need more. We expected a lot. Look, part of it's the hype. I'm not buying into the hype next year. I'm not. I don't want to hear. We're going to hear it. There'll be some new toy. There'll be, Trevor's 4th year. There'll be, Josh Allen hopefully gets his new deal. All this stuff will be going on. All this hype and hoopla. But even keel for me, because you never know how the season's going to go. And although you look good on paper and you look good at going against your own team, that doesn't really mean what when you go against the regular season. But there's a time and a place for this, and it's time. Hey, you can beat the Ravens. You can. It's going to take none of this tomfoolery, not knowing what's going on, not knowing who I have in coverage. They're going to exploit you. I mean, they're coming after 33. Are you kidding me? Let's figure out a way to confuse him and get him one-on-one with somebody. We'll take advantage, but you got to counteract it and be on top of your game. All right, that's going to do it for us. Of course, want to thank Team Tommy Mac. You guys rock. No matter what you need, I got it for you with more to come. Make sure you check them out. And when I post it on social media, hit their Facebook names, their handles and whatnot. I'll take you right to their page. You'll see everything they offer. They are absolutely fantastic. Small business owners right here in Northeast Florida. So until next time, stay safe and be cool out there. We'll see you right here on Catching Up with Tommy Mac. Peace.